a little bit of time, we're going to consider what a nature positive bill would look like for our future. So we're going to fast forward. We've got some very tiny little ones, if that really helps you understand what it would look like for them. How nature can be thriving everywhere. Every verge teeming. Butterflies emerging in the spring. Great flocks of starlings, bigger than you've ever seen, roosting across Cardiff's wetlands that are even more restored than they are now. The air is clean, and you can see fish in there. You could eat that fish if you wanted to. You could swim in that river, bathe under the trees that are growing old alongside it. We have a nature positive bill today. The future in 20 years' time could be beautiful and abundant, thriving. The species that are returning home right now, flying from North Africa, our swifts, our swallows, our cuckoos. Wales can be that sanctuary for our wildlife and for people. If you're comfortable enough, we'll just wait. We'll just have a couple more minutes here, and then we'll pass around some paper for you to add your thoughts. Because today we're going to tip the balance. Think about that place in the future. Who are you there with? What are you doing? How does it feel? We're here today because in these weeks, inside this building, decisions will be made about which new laws we'll see next year, and nature needs its place. We have petitions. We have almost 380 organisations backing our call for a nature positive Wales. But maybe we need to speak to our politicians' hearts, consider our dreams and how it makes us feel.
I'm the Nature Positive campaign coordinator for Climate Cymru. We are here at the Senedd because we are demanding a nature positive bill for Wales. A nature positive bill would see targets to see nature thrive and recover into the future for future generations, and it means that work starts now. It would also mean we have an environmental watchdog. So for all those people dumping pollutants into our rivers, that independent environmental watchdog will be able to take them to town, charge them, ensure that they restore the damage that they've done as well. We're not here on our own. Our work is backed 328 organisations from across Wales, from Ynys Môn down to St David's, across to Wrexham and to Monmouthshire, from councils to schools to unions to choirs to art collectives, have signed and written to our First Minister demanding that we have a nature positive bill this year with no more delay. We're here now because those decisions will be made in that building over the next couple of weeks. So we're here now to apply that pressure. We'll be back in 2 weeks to hand in our open letter from our organisations. If you're an organisation and you want to join up to this open letter, check out climate.cymru and you can sign on there. But as an individual, 1,300 people have also written letters to Mark Drakeford, our First Minister, saying we want a nature positive bill now. It literally, we cannot delay. And if you see in our installation, so we're already, nature is like in its deepest, darkest place right now. 70% of all wildlife has declined just in the last 50 years. Like, this is really important for our future food. It's really important for our future flood protection, our health and our happiness. So we've heard from doctors today, we've heard from scientists, and we've heard from health professionals. We've also had a little squabble from some of our politicians. What we're asking them for is deeds and not just words. So yeah, we're here to create a nature positive future, see that happens. Check out climate.cymru and you can find out where to take action if you want to join with us. And yeah, dream about a nature positive future, one that's thriving, not just surviving.
Or just let the sun warm your face. Stay in this beautiful future. A nature positive future. Old woodland that we can all walk through. Every person in every community with access to green space. Space to play, space to be joyful, space to learn, space to obey. We're asking for a nature positive bill today. We're here as parents, scientists, mothers, daughters, pensioners, consultants. If you want to stick around, we'll be hearing from scientists. But at the moment we're dreaming about what a write your dreams about the future and then add it to our scales because we want to tip the balance for nature. This is for everyone. For all of us that like to walk on a quiet day or a rainy day. Where do we usually go? Nature is in the balance right now, and you can come and join us. Grab a leaf, just write some thoughts and dreams, and we'll take those to the First Minister. Thousands of people have already done this, and this conversation is going to be going on up and down our country over the next 2 months. What does a nature positive Wales look like, and how are we going to make it happen? We might need someone hiding under the table putting it down. Maybe like wedge them in so they don't fly away. We could add them into any of the baskets in our cornucopia.
Hi, my name's Rob. I'm a carpenter and a gardener and an activist, and I live in Cardiff. And yeah, we're just here at the Senedd today because we're talking about a nature positive bill. I just really feel like we need to redress the balance between us and humans as a species and all the other species and all the children of all the other species. And we're taking up far too much of the resource of the planet just for us. this is the only planet with life on it that we know of. This could be all the life there is in the whole universe in this one place. And as one species, we're potentially just destroying it. We're changing the conditions of the climate, we're changing the atmosphere, so that there might not be any wildlife, there might not be hardly any species left in 50 or 100 years' time, and that could be for everywhere. So yeah, we just need to take a breath, stop destroying stuff, stop taking over the planet, just have a bit of calm and a bit of peace, and like go to the wild spaces and really just have a think about how good it feels when we're there. We all see when the weather's lovely like this, everyone wants to be by the River Taff, everyone wants to be in Butte Park or along the Taff Trail or go walking in Castlecock Woods. We feel better when we're close to nature in and around Cardiff, but we're losing those wild spaces, and we just need to stop and realise that actually we're losing a part of ourselves every time we lose some nature.
Got a few more people dreaming, and then I think maybe if we come together once that last few people are done. Do you want to shout something for the photo? Classic photo vibe. Nature positive. And 3, so I'll go 3, 2, 1. Nature positive. Okay, we ready? 3, 2, 1. Nature positive! How's that? Alright guys, thank you very much for coming. You may our nature positive dream, which is not a new dream, it's about people at the very beginning. So I'm going to give you a very quick rundown on what we're asking for and two key actions we can all take. We're asking for nature to have new laws, and we're asking for that to happen this year, not next. No more delay. Nature positive as a bill, we talked about the Senedd yesterday. The two things we want to see happen are new laws that would see legally binding targets for nature's restoration and recovery. That's 2030. Nature is no longer in free fall. And by 2050, nature is absolutely thriving. Depending on how old we are, it depends on how much we've already lost. But in my lifetime, it's staggering. In these guys' lifetime, we can turn things around. And that's what I really want to do. So we're asking for a nature positive bill. They're making those decisions in the Senedd. That's the First Minister and his cabinet. So if you can ask your representative to raise this, to have a conversation with them, that's a really important step. That's number one. Action number one. Number two, you can take your name and write a letter directly to the First Minister at the click of a button. And you can join 1,300 other people that have written him a letter asking for a nature positive bill. If you are part of an organisation, a club, a choir, a school, a union, you can also join an open letter with 328 other organisations, from Innismon to St David's, from Wrexham to Monmouthshire. People in our organisations are standing up, and we need that to be recognised. So you can ask more organisations. Imagine if we had 500. We need to remain unignorable this time. Nature is in the balance. That was 3 things, wasn't it? 3 things. And there's like 10 other things that we want, but they're the important 3 things. Sign the letter, find an organisation and ask them if they want to sign an open letter. A nature positive bill would see nature thriving, and it would start next year. It would literally, like, we could begin this process. Every community garden could be funded. Every newly emerging forest could be protected. Much greater consideration for this new development might have to be considered. And when we see the greatest losses of protected spaces, maybe we wouldn't anymore. And for those of us that are campaigners and activists, maybe we wouldn't have to sit in trees. Maybe we wouldn't have to spend our time protecting a space. We could spend our time restoring spaces. And that is a beautiful process, a beautiful thing to be part of. And nature will do most of the work for us. And nature reserves, many of which are not in good condition, for the important nature that they hold, they can be properly funded. Rather than 1 meeting in the world, maybe there'd be 2, or 3, or 4. Maybe there'd be 20 cattle, or 100 cattle instead of 5. This is power nature and take our share of this burden. It is impacting the whole world. We can be home to all those migrating species. We can be a sanctuary in so many ways. I'm not going to talk anymore, unless there's something else I should have said. No? Cool. I'm going to invite Dr. Aaron.
Hey everybody. I always ask to come down and share some thoughts as an ecologist. So, can everybody hear okay? Yes, great. I'm an ecologist by training and I did my PhD about 10 years ago at the University of Sheffield. But I'm from Wales and I live in Wales. And the nature of Wales is really important to me. So, 10 years ago, pretty much to the week, the television naturalist presenter Yola Williams was stood inside the Senedd launching the State of Nature report for Wales. And he could not have been clearer in what that report 10 years ago was saying. I'm just going to quote something from his speech. He said, "We really are on the brink of disaster. Over the past 4 or 5 years, I've seen a huge decline in once common butterflies, once common birds, once common plants. They are disappearing, and we need to wake up." But we didn't wake up. We're still not acting with anywhere near the urgency that he was explaining we needed to take and that report set out. Things are continuing to decline rapidly, And in 2021, a new report was put out by the Natural History Museum, which ranks Wales as the 16th worst country in the world for nature intactness. 16th worst in the world. What that means is that we've lost 50%, half of all Wales's wildlife. 60% of our protected areas, our most special sites, are assessed as being in unfavourable condition. We're not even looking after what little we have left. It's the case that even there is less wildlife even inside the boundaries of Oganaised National Park than there is outside of it. Our national parks. The biodiversity, 1 in 6 Welsh species are now at risk of extinction. Where I grew up in North Wales, I grew up in Cymru, and my grandmother had a house on the banks of the Oganaised Straits. And we'd go over and visit her often. And in the summertime, she would take us up to the walking fields around her house, looking out over the straits. And there would be huge flocks of curlew looking for worms with their curled beaks. And we'd just stand there and watch them. Curlew numbers in Wales declined by 90% in the last 20 years. My dad, when I was a boy, used to read me from Ringing the Willows, and I was, completely smitten by the tales of moles and rats, the water balls. And he would take us, my dad, on walks along the riverbanks in North Wales, and we'd go along, for example, the River Vyrnwy, and we'd look for the water balls' holes, and they were everywhere to find. You could find them all over the banks, and you could see the water balls swimming up and down the edges of the river. Well, the population of water balls in Wales declined by 98% since the 1980s when I was born. They're virtually extinct now. My favourite animal as a child was hedgehogs. And I remember, again, in the evening when I was a small boy, we went out in the garden and I spotted a white hedgehog, an albino. And I was so thrilled by this, it was so exciting to me, that I ran back in the house and I tracked all my family out and we sat there for an hour watching this hedgehog go poodling around the garden. It was the best I could really imagine. And hedgehogs, I'm afraid, are also vanishing. In the 1950s, there was estimated to be 30 million hedgehogs in the UK. Now there is less than 1 million left, and they're still plummeting. I can't remember the last time I saw a hedgehog. There must be there. We need to protect every bit of nature that we have. We need to give it a chance to recover. We need to protect every bit of wasteland, and every bird is precious. Last night, on the way home, I walked past a beautiful, covered in oxeye daisies, and I spent 5 minutes just watching the bumblebees move around, pollinating each of those flowers. And today, on the way here, I passed exactly the same bird patch, and it's been mown down to nothing. We've got to stop doing this. We've got to change our relationship to nature in this country, and it starts here with the Senedd. They can make the difference. We're at a tipping point. This balance is exactly right. It's now or never. There is no more time for delay. There wasn't time for delay 10 years ago, and they delayed. No more. We need this nature positive law. We need to give nature a chance because it can bounce back if we allow it to. The Welsh Government has this chance now to turn things around, to start to make things right. I really hope that they take it. For goodness knows, future generations will damn them if they don't. There's no nature, if there's no nature, there's no future. Os nad oes natur, yna dim dyfodol. Diolch.
Thank you, Aaron. Does anyone want to... The state of things is bad, but there is so much beauty in those places where it is good. There's so much beauty. If we push really hard these next 2 weeks, the birds will keep singing, and we might see a nature positive bill this year, and that would be a beautiful thing. Does anyone want to say a word or two about what nature means to them? Hard act to follow. Do we need a minute? Come on.
Yeah, really powerful stuff from Aaron. I did a degree in zoology quite a long time ago, but nowhere near the knowledge that Aaron's got. But regular activist and campaigner, the Northern Meadows up in Cardiff, a lot of you all know about. But also I've worked for Public Health Wales and the NHS in health promotion for a lot of time. And to me, it's that balance of our relationship with nature and spending time in it that restores our mental well-being. As well as restoring nature itself, and just us re-identifying with the fact that we are nature. You know, we can't undo 2 or 3 coats, so we're seeing a mental health crisis. And so by restoring nature, we're restoring our mental well-being, our sense of calm, our sense of peace, of living in a world that we will actually be proud to be part of. And proud to hand over to the next generation. So for me, it's just absolutely key that we just stop destroying the nature that is still there, whatever it might be. It might just be a single tree, but let's just keep it where it is, keep it in the ground. And yeah, so for me, we really must press on those that make the decisions, those who allocate resource and finance, to value nature far more than it is. Every oak tree should be worth 5 million quid if they want to cut it down. That's how much they've got to put back into nature. Something like that. We need to redress the balance between where the money is being spent and what value nature is being given. Thank you. Good to see you all. Enjoy the sunshine.
I'm Dr. Aaron Thierry. I'm an ecologist at the University of Cardiff. I'm here at the Welsh Parliament today, basically to support a proposal for a nature positive bill. We so desperately need this law to get passed. Nature is in crisis in Wales. As a scientist, we've gathered all the data showing that wildlife declines are happening and accelerating. We've actually lost almost half of Wales's wildlife, and Wales is now ranked as the 16th worst country in the world when it comes to nature intactness. We've got to turn this around. Without nature, we undermine the survival of this country. We won't be able to get food and water and clean air. Ultimately, this is about our survival. And so, the Welsh Government have the powers to enact really strong nature protection targets, and myself and all the others here today are out here asking that they do that they protect future generations, and that we act now. There's no time left to delay.
Yeah, Penny, I was going to say they did value nature. So one river is worth £40 billion. It's worth more than the extraction from agriculture. It's worth more because of the people that want to spend time there, visit there, live there. So they are valuing things like this with a monetary sense. Maybe we need to bring that to the forefront for those that speak in those words. It's past you to...
Nature and health, to everybody's health, both emotional, physical, mental health. It's crucial, and particularly in cities. And I think this is one of the big problems in cities in Wales, is that our green space is being taken away from us. Northern Meadows has already been mentioned, and a number of us here are campaigners for it's still ongoing, and we've been arrested, we've been in front of the High Court, the judges, and fingers wagged to just told you will go to prison if you don't stop. And you just think, what on earth are they doing? And at the moment, there is a crane from HS2 in Forest Farm Nature Reserve. Just get your heads around that. I mean, that's just extraordinary. What are we doing? What's Cardiff Council doing, who own Forest Farm? What's the Welsh Government doing, who is building this project? And as everybody said, this has just got to stop. And thanks everybody for being here today to do your bit to try and bring back nature.
Thanks, Penny. I did have a thought to write down every single environmental campaign that's running and ongoing across Wales, but the list is actually just too long. But I guess this is where maybe a nature positive bill comes into play, because if there is a government mandate for these things to be considered, that at a local level we're not relying on planning officers having to make quite big decisions, or councillors to make big decisions that impact local communities. Because this is where people come out. They come out to protect their communities and the things and places they care about. So we see it in Cardiff, but you can see it in Swansea, you can see it in Neath, in Port Talbot, you can see it on Ynys Môn, you can see it across our country. So underlying all of this, and we are tipping the balance, it's changing. Don't let go. Yeah. Underlying all of this is a nature positive bill. And if they put that in this year, the next bit of work is to make sure it does exactly what it needs to do for nature. It's not open promises with open doors for other ways for nature to be lost, missed or misplaced. It's super clear, because actually maybe this is the economy of our future. Maybe we all get to spend time restoring nature, because if we don't have it, then we have issues around food and pollination, we have issues around flooding and protection of our homes and our cities and our roads and our rail. So maybe this is a job for all of us. It feels like it is. So this is the work. So I'm going to say thank you. Does anyone else want to say a word or two? And as our final act, I think we should really tip the scales completely. So maybe we'll go get in there and literally we'll pull it down, but not too hard, so it might fall apart.
Right, I speak as a health professional, retired health visitor looking after young children, their families and community. Air pollution kills between 40 and 60,000 people a year. Nature can help deal with air pollution. I'm sure you know the landmark case, the young girl Ellie, who died at the age of about 8, about 10 years ago, and hers was a landmark case because for the first time they could put on her death certificate asthma and air pollution, which they weren't allowed to do before. It's not, I'd say to the Senedd, it's not just, nature's not just add-on. It's essential for our health, it's essential for clean air, it's essential for everybody, especially people whose health is vulnerable. And that's
I'm Rachel Sharp, I'm the Director of Wildlife Trust Wales, and we are a local wildlife charity. There's 5 wildlife trusts in Wales. And the first thing I want to say is thank you so much for coming out today. Because every single person here is the catalyst of change. If you know your friends, your neighbours, you can tell these stories, you can activate change at the local level. So always know your voice counts, your actions count, and the way that we're going to restore nature is by you. So thank you very much for being here today. I have worked in nature conservation for over 20 years and I have seen, unfortunately, that steady decline. But only just recently we're starting to really see the recognition of what's happening in our natural world. And unfortunately, it's the reality is we have globally lost 60% of the abundance of wildlife on this planet. It's really simple to do the maths. The next generation doesn't get to enjoy the wonders of nature, doesn't get to hear that bird song, doesn't get to see the hedgehog, doesn't get to see porpoises out to sea. And what's absolutely critical in the understanding of this and sending out those messages is driving that change, and this is why the nature positive bill is so important. We're in a nature crisis. We need the scale and pace of change now, not tomorrow, not in 2 years' time. We don't respond to other crises by delaying things by 1 or 2 years. We have to demand change, and we have to demand change now, because these targets will really drive the change. And when we start getting that abundance of understanding and that abundance of action, and that's only then will we see the real change, that real shift in enabling nature to recover. And the great thing about nature is you give nature a chance. You put a bucket out in your back garden, within a day you'll have boats on the surface. Nature will come back. Nature wants to thrive. Nature will. We just need to give nature a chance. So let's do that, and let's keep this message out. Let's keep the pressure on the Senedd here today. They have the power to respond to this crisis. The message must be loud and clear. A crisis needs action. It needs action now, not tomorrow, not in 2 years. Thank you.
Okay. So if we're happy, should we tip the balance? We're after a nature positive bill. Maybe someone over there can give it to us. A nature positive bill? Yeah? Yeah. Lee, you want to come in? Should we tell you what we've made? Come and join our cornucopia. So you guys know why we're here, but we'll tell these guys. So we're here as Climate Cymru pictures. Come and have a look. We've got some different paths we'd like to see a nature positive future for all of us. And this is the path we're going to take. And I know that we're all on board with this. We don't even want to look over there. We're going to go for this nature positive cornucopia and see nature thrive. Yeah, what we need is a nature positive bill this year. Yeah.
Oh, good afternoon. I'm Janet Finch-Saunders, the elected member for Aberconway and Shadow Minister for Climate Change, the Environment. That covers biodiversity, conservation, you name it, and nature recovery. So yes, I really would like the Welsh Labour government to bring forward something that protects, every little creature from the size of an ant to goodness knows how large. But we really do. Our plants. This morning we had an evidence session where people were there and they work in the field of lichens and moss and things like that. Everything is on our earth for a reason, and we are destroying it. And so it's only legislation and law made here in Wales will help us to get nature back restored. So you have my 100% backing. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you very much. Lee, do you want to...
Hello, I'm Lee Waters. I'm the Deputy Minister for Climate Change. I'm afraid I can't resist that speech, but it's all very well saying that, but when we bring forward a roads review, council schemes that destroy biodiversity, Conservatives opposed it. We brought forward tree planting targets. Conservatives opposed it when we brought forward an agriculture bill to bring sustainable farming into part of the scheme. Janet Finch-Saunders opposed it. So it's all very well quoting principles of how you can support little creatures, but every single time actions are brought forward, they oppose it. And I just think seriously, I think on climate change there's a responsibility of leadership to follow through on things. It's all very well to sign up to high level targets of net zero by 2050, but politically you have to have the courage to follow through those actions and do things which are difficult and unpopular, but deliver it. Otherwise, it's all words. So I'm fully supportive of the principle of what you're pushing for, and I think the message should be to all politicians who are willing to stand here and pat you on the back.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
will you pledge now, Lee, Deputy Minister for Climate Change, pledge to this people that you will bring forward this nature bill?
Yeah. Well, I'm just walking into this. I don't know the position, Janet. But I'll take no lessons from you on hypocrisy. Thank you very much. All politicians need to follow through on their words, and we'll take this very seriously and do as much as we can, as I hope you'll see from our track record today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's important and it's good to hear from politicians about their work. It's important that actually we see action on the ground. We could lean towards the UK government. We could look towards the situation for nature in the UK as a whole. I want to thank you all for coming here. Should we do a head-to-head? Should I plug 2 mics in? Well, there's different policies, aren't there? What we're after today, guys, is a nature positive bill.
And we need to work not be arguing like this.
We'll send you through the briefs. It's all costed. It's good to go.
Okay, we'll have a look at it. Thank you.
Fun in the oven.
Let me have a copy.
Just turn it on. Have it. Fab.
Thank you very much.
Thank you both for coming out. Really appreciate it.
The assurances from ministers that they would be in the legislation coming forward. So what we all need to do now collectively is work together as politicians, as the public, as wider Welsh civic society to make Wales the nation that leads on this and gets the right binding targets in place, and also actually targets that also can be ratcheted upwards as time goes by. Because we know that we not only need to protect and preserve the best of what we have in biodiversity and nature and in ecological systems right now, but we need restoration as well. And that's the challenge for me, and for generations that will come.
Thank you. And like Pro,
We have a nature crisis. There's no use dancing around this. It's staring us in the face. All the indicators show how bad things are. So if we're serious about this, then we need to take urgent action. In every piece of legislation and policy we have here in the Senedd, we need to do it robustly, rigorously, and make sure that we turn around the crisis that we have, and this becomes the generation that makes the difference for now and for future generations as well. It's a moral responsibility.
Thank you. And how important is legally binding targets in this whole massive stuff that we need to act on?
Legally binding targets are critical, and we've got several important bills going through the Senedd in this term, and they need to be in this term, not left to a future government that could do whatever. We need to bolt it down, and it was great yesterday in the Senedd debate yesterday. We had firm commitments on the record from Welsh Government ministers that that's exactly what they intended to do. So there's a big job now for politicians, for the public, and wider civic society in Wales to work on, but also with Welsh Government, to make sure we get this in place with the urgency it absolutely needs, because if we miss this opportunity, nobody's going to forgive us from future generations, because frankly they won't be around to forgive us.